Say you will, say you won't, make up your mind tonight. Say you do, say you don't, wanna be mine.
Hi, Mick.
Hi, Ellie. How are you doing?
Thank you. First of all, I'd like to thank you for being with us.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
I wish you a big success in your two performances here. I think it will be on June this year.
June 14th and 15th.
Yes.
I believe, yeah.
And what's going to be in this show?
Well, there will be similarities to last time we were here. There about 3 years ago, I guess now, maybe even more.
Yes.
But the band, just gets better and better. So I think we can expect a lot of excitement on stage, some great musicianship, and great energy. So that's what we will arrive with that. We have a special suitcase for energy.
We opened our show with Say You Will, the acoustic version with Kelly Handsome. Can you say a little bit about Kelly?
Well, Kelly joined the band when I reformed the band, probably about 2004, I believe. And, he came in and I knew immediately when I heard his voice at the audition that, he could express these songs, really reach down and search, for his own interpretation, plus just bring a whole new, fresh energy. And, he's a great frontman on stage. He's got to really connect with the audience. It's been nothing but getting better for the last 10 years since he joined the band.
Let's go back, Mick, I think more than 50 years. I think the first band that you joined was Nori and the Gladiators when you were 18.
Yes, a long time ago.
Did you record with the band or just perform?
Not really, performed more. I worked with the drummer in that band, Nero and the Gladiators, and we became a writing partnership. And that led eventually to, it's a long story, but basically that ended in us joining Johnny Halliday's band, and who's a great French Elvis, or however you want to call him. He's been the king of music in France for 50 years. He's an incredible guy. That's when my career as a writer, even as a producer, started to come together.
You also wrote some songs for Johnny.
Yes, I wrote several. They did very well. I was living in France at that time, in the late 60s, and I wrote for Françoise Hardy as well. If you're familiar with her, I don't know.
Sylvie Vartan.
Yeah, Sylvie Vartan, yeah. Sylvie was really the one that I first played with in France. She was very kind to me and made me feel very at home in Paris. She's a great lady.
Let's hear one of your songs that you wrote for Johnny. Do you remember this song?
Yeah. Wow. I haven't heard that for many years.
Is it right that Jimmy Page played here?
Yeah, he came over to France with the producer Glyn John. Jimmy was in the middle of putting Led Zeppelin together. He came over to France to work with Johnny, with me, to prepare some of his thoughts and ideas for the start of Led Zeppelin. It was very interesting, actually. We did quite a lot of work with Jimmy Page and John Paul Jones, and it was a good time.
When you went back home, you played with Peter Frampton in one of his early solo recordings?
Yeah, I played on a song called Wind of Change. That was with Peter Frampton. Some English session players. My eventually bass player, Rick Will, was on that session too. Just a whole lot of people that I was lucky enough to meet and to play with in the early 70s, I guess.
All I wanna be is by your side.
Eventually, I spent probably about 18 months back in England. I thought it was time, I had quite a bit of success in France, but I felt that my career would have to take me to America. So that was like a period of preparation almost, and then I joined a band called Spooky Tooth.
Yes, with Gary Wright.
With Gary Wright, yeah. That lasted for probably about 2 years, maybe 3, from about 72 to 75.
Yes, and I counted 5 songs that you are co-wrote with Gary or...
Yeah.
Yes. Can you say something about Gary?
Well, yes, he called me up recently. I think something's happening with another Spooky Tooth album. I'm not sure. I'll have to, find out what the story is, but we have been in touch, yeah.
Times have changed. It's plain to see.
After the 2 years with Spooky Tooth, before you joined Leslie West, you played in George Harrison's Ding Dong?
That's right, yeah. That was in George's castle outside London. It was a very interesting experience. It was great. He was a great person. I was lucky enough to know him. You know, not intimately great friends, but very friendly and always very respectful and encouraging, too. I learned a lot from just being with him, you know.
Before you formed Foreigner, you played with Leslie West Band. Please say something about Leslie.
Well, Leslie is probably one of the best blues guitar players. You know, he's unfortunately, you know, his career didn't go as far as it should do, really. I learned a lot from playing with him, too. I was lucky to learn from quite a lot of people. You know, pick up things and start to develop my direction. That really started, I think, when I joined Spooky Tooth. That was a little bit of the flavor I wanted to take into Foreigner. So that was a good foundation for me.
Your body's warm and soft beside. You've heard my stories and all my life. I can see you need the time. It's in your eyes. I'm gonna love you tonight.
How it happened that Atlantic Records signed Foreigner?
Well, we sent a demo tape over to them, but the person that received it just played it and sent it back. So also Clive Davis had approached us, well, we had approached him. He was very interested, but deep inside, I really wanted to be on Atlantic Records because of the heritage of that label, all the bands that were on there, all the R&B right back to Aretha Franklin, Ray Charles. You know, it was such a great record company. It was my dream come true to finally see my album turning with the red and black logo in the middle of it.
Why did you call the band Foreigner?
Well, there were 3 of us were English and 3 Americans, and we figured wherever we went, some of the band would be foreigners. You know, it's very difficult to choose a name for a band if you want it to remain. The bottom line is that it's all about the music, really, and the songs. But in those days, you know, you had the artwork on albums, and I wanted to develop something that was, you know, a bit of a trademark. I mean, if you think about it, it may not be the cleverest name to have, you know, these days. But in America, they make it a bit like a dirty word, but we're still doing very well, so maybe they like it.
Most of your songs talks about the relationship between man and woman. For example, Cold as Ice.
Well, Cold as Ice was inspired by a personal experience, you know, one of my first girlfriends way back. Her temperament was really cold. The rest are just from personal experience. Most, you know, a great deal of them are to do with the relationships and, you know, try and send a bit of a, you know, not just completely goofy lyrics, but, you know, put quite a lot of thought into them.
You're willing to sacrifice our love.
And the success came immediately. The second album, Double Vision. Can you say a little bit about this song?
The idea came when Lou and I were in Madison Square Garden watching the New York Rangers hockey team, ice hockey, and the goalkeeper got hit on the head and was taken off the ice. And in the PA system, they said that this guy had been taken off the ice and he was suffering from double vision. And Lou and I looked at each other and he said, well, that's a pretty cool title. It can mean several different things. So we went with that.
Fill my eyes with that double vision.
Okay, Mick, thank you very much.
Okay, Ellie.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye, Mick.
I wanna know what love is. I want you